Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Kill a Delibird, episode 2, where we're gonna actually look at the anime like we originally intended. You know me, I'm Kellen, and my co-host here is with me again, Graham. Graham, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Kellen?
I'm lovely.
I'm excited to jump into these episodes. It's been, oh man, like I watched these when it was first coming out. I'm in my 30s. I can reveal that. So I was, I don't know, 10-ish when these were airing, I want to say. And it's been a long time, so it was kind of neat to be able to see them again. I think I had fun. You know, they're like definitely kids shows, but you know, not bad to chill with.
Yeah, and as for the last time I watched them, it was for the first season was about a month ago, not even, because I was going back to rewatch the anime because I wanted to watch the whole thing just for funsies after they announced Ash was getting retired. And then over Christmas, I had just finished the first season, and then over Christmas, Graham came to me and was like, I want to start a podcast about, like, the Pokemon anime. And I was like, well, fuck, I just watched the first season, but I can do that again. Sure, let's do it.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. You got to dive in at the beginning. We're definitely looking forward to some of the later episodes where Pokemon that I'm not familiar with come up. I know that's one of the things we're excited to get into. One of the other things we'd planned, you know, the name of the podcast, To Kill a Delibird, we are kind of looking at this from a, you know, literary puns are kind of funny. What kind of parallels can we draw? I think we're going to have...
You're looking at it like this. I'm not.
Right.
This is
Pokemon fan versus I like Pokemon as a kid, kind of have fallen out, but we got two different perspectives.
Pokemon fan versus guy with a master's degree.
Whatever. Not in English or anything like that, though.
Yeah, but still.
Computer science. But yeah. Hey, education is just education. It is not that big of a deal.
You couldn't pay me to go for a master's.
You get paid to go if you get a grant.
Well, yeah, you can't pay me. I just said that. You couldn't pay me.
So, what I'm realizing, though, is I think the kind of parallels that I'm gonna be drawing aren't necessarily in-depth story-telling kind of parallels. It's not that deep, bro. What I think I can offer, though, is some... You know, I have a hypothesis going into this. Let's get this out on the table. That Pokemon fans are in a bit of a bubble. It's all Pokemon and nothing else. Yeah. Like, in terms of other similar kind of trashy, fun mediums. Like video games, manga, anime, all of that stuff. So I think I'm going to be bringing up... hopefully, maybe teaching you about some of these anime tropes that the anime community kind of memes about in the Pokemon context, and we'll see which ones of these you're aware of and which ones you aren't, and likewise from you, you know, pointing out sort of the Pokemon rabbit holes that the Pokemon community sort of jumps on and memes within that community, and get my reactions.
Yeah, for context's sake, Pokemon is the only anime I've ever watched. I don't really care about watching other animes. Right. Honestly, like the animation style isn't really my thing, but I watch Pokemon because it's Pokemon.
See, that's so interesting. I read quite a lot of manga. Not as much anime these days, but definitely as a teenager was really into it. So... yeah, that's quite a bit of a different perspective. So I hope that brings up some kind of fun different perspectives to explore. So what we're going to be doing then is we'll go through each episode, kind of go over the plot more or less, but just kind of share our observations. We have a fun activity that we'll do at the end of every episode where we'll try to score the episode. But we're going to shake it up a little bit, so stay tuned for that. So do you want to kick off this first episode? Iconic first episode?
So Today we're going through the first 3 episodes. We're going through Pokemon I Choose You, Pokemon Emergency, and Ash Catches a Pokemon. We're going to go through all 3 of them. We open the first episode. I mean, before we get into the episode, we should probably talk a little bit about the theme song, because it's completely iconic.
I was wondering, do you want to... Yeah, let's talk about it. I think we need to have a full episode at some point that is just about openings and endings.
Yeah, that sounds good.
When we can really dive into it. Yeah, it's iconic.
When we're in the last season, we'll go through and just rank all the themes.
We'll definitely have to do theme tier lists. Yeah,
in 10 years.
Okay, so I'm watching in English. This is the 4Kids dub that we had on TV as kids. I watched on Netflix. The opening's exactly as I remembered. I was actually surprised at how similar this show overall was to my memories of it. Like, often when you go back to something you haven't seen in, like, 20-plus years, it's jarring or surprising how crusty it looks compared to what it looked in your head. But the music
just
was
as crusty as you remember.
Pretty much the same. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. It aged not too bad in terms of, like, a kind of a kid's cartoon sort of look, sort of feel.
I mean, that's the thing about the art style of anime, is that it does have longevity.
To an extent, but, like, you go back to some 80s and
simple.
90s anime, like, even, like, Dragon Ball Z is one that I thought in my head looks like one thing. You go back to some of those old Dragon Ball episodes, and they look pretty rough. Maybe because I was bracing myself for that, I thought this was about how I expected it. And the theme song, yeah, right away brings you in. I liked how, one big thing I think is that sucked you in watching every day or week to week or however, is that in the opening and also the closing, they give you a lot of teasers. Like, there's all of these Pokemon that are sort of just, or all of these upcoming scenes that are kind of just very loosely revealed in a way that has, like, a lot of mystery around them. I think that's a good hook. You're like, whatever I thought of today's episode, I want to keep watching, because, like, there was that shadowy Dragonite,
and there was
thing
that giant Charizard.
Yeah, like, what's going on with that? I gotta keep watching.
Yeah, I think it's the most iconic intro and theme song. I don't think it's the best one.
Okay, interesting.
It's 100% the most iconic.
And it's definitely the most iconic. I cannot name or think of another opening.
Exactly.
So, as the layperson here.
Well, I mean, Pokemania, whatever they call it, was pretty much exclusive to Gen 1, was it not? Maybe into Gen 2, too?
Yeah, as, like, that the media, that the news kind of hooked on to, for sure. The sort of Pokemon is the devil, Fox News sort of rhetoric.
I mean, that rhetoric never stopped. It's still going.
Is it really? That's interesting.
It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I saw a post of a Facebook post, because of course it was a Facebook post about, like, a Pokemon card and how the word energy was capitalized, and it's like how that's demonic and it shouldn't be capitalized.
How the word energy being capitalized is demonic.
Yeah, because it's something about God and
that
God's
is the most Facebook
garbage
post I've ever heard.
I know. Anyway, back into the episode. So we open on the classic Nidorino.
So cool! Starting with the Game Boy graphic,
Game Boy style.
That was another thing that surprised me a bit. I did not remember how sort of faithful or kind of the level of references to the source material there is in the show. Starting with the Game Boy graphic, very cool.
And something I noted, the guy who has the Nidorino takes it back and sends out an Onix, and the Pokeball that the Onix is in is a green Pokeball, like a totally green ball. We've never seen one of those in games. There
isn't a green ball in any game?
No,
even in
not at all.
Newer ones? Wow.
No. Not a purely green one like the Onix was in. I mean, you might be able to say it's a Safari Ball, because the Safari Ball in the anime is also green, but those ones have an S on them, as we'll see when we eventually get to the Safari.
Okay, we've got our first canon violation here. So I noticed that trainer. I asked you ahead of time. That trainer to me looked like something familiar, like Elite Four, maybe. I don't remember everything about those characters.
You specifically said Bruno, and so I went back to look at it, and I couldn't find anything concrete about it. But it definitely looks just like Bruno. I mean,
it
he's
does.
shirtless.
Right.
He's got ripped pants. The hair is just like Bruno.
Bruno was a fighting Pokemon Elite Four. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was the second Elite Four
in the original games. So
and the
that's
third
probably a
ones.
reference. Yeah, right off the bat.
And I'm looking on Bulbapedia, and yeah, in the trivia section, I don't think it says anything that it's concretely, but it resembles Bruno. But it's definitely Bruno looking at it.
Gotcha. So do you want to kick us off kind of, I guess, to the main plot point of this episode, like the starting?
Yeah, so after that, we meet Ash Ketchum. We look around his room. He's got all this Pokemon merchandise.
He's like you. He's a Pokemon freak.
Mm-hmm. He's got a Poliwag that has something in its mouth. It looks like it's like smoking a doobie or something. I don't know what that was about.
Okay, kid show.
We learned that Ash Ketchum is going to be 10 years old, and that means as a 10-year-old, he is mature enough to take a live animal and go wander the country all on his own.
And he's
Pokemon
licensed to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is like a regulatory system. Yeah, you get a
It's
Pokemon
ridiculous.
license.
It's weird. And I mean, obviously, it's to like relate to the kids watching the TV show that are like, "Oh, I'm 10. I could go have a Pokemon and be a Pokemon trainer." But let's be real. It makes no sense.
It is surreal. It's one of those things that you do kind of suspend your disbelief because it obviously is sort of a fantasy for a young person watching the show. But to talk about it in terms of a license, that immediately makes me go, okay, so this world has a regulatory body which accreditates and manages, reports, has visibility into 10-year-old cockfighters who are journeying, the region to be the best.
Like no one ever was.
And what does that... Why? Like, is there an economic reason for that? Is it child labor? Like,
well, you can be a Pokemon trainer as a career.
And where does the money come in from Pokemon training as a career? From people watching battles, like a sport?
Well, don't you remember in the games when you lose a battle, you got to give the other person money?
So it is cockfighting.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's why Pokemon's the devil, folks. Get on Facebook. Call up the news media.
So we meet Ash's mom, who tells him to go to bed. And then we meet, on the TV, our 3 starter Pokemon. There's Bulbasaur, there's Charmander, and there's Squirtle. And I got a question for you. A, which starter did you pick when you originally played the games? And B, has that choice changed? Would you pick a different one, or would you stick with the same one?
When I would repeat them, because back in the day when you really only had one game, you played it over and over. So I have played Blue a few times. So I would change every time, because you gotta experience the different options for sure. I think to pick one though, if you're gonna say, okay, Graham, which Pokemon do you pick? I was a Bulbasaur guy.
Good choice.
I think
I'm still a Bulbasaur guy?
Yeah, I'm still a Bulbasaur guy, because I think I liked that he was a little bit... He always felt a little underground to me, in the sense that there's the Charmander simps, they're going crazy. There's the Blastoise freaks. But Bulbasaur was just kind of like, man, he needs some love. So I was Team Bulbasaur. Seemed like the most chill choice,
Yeah.
What about you?
As a kid, I was definitely a Charmander kid. Because it's cool fire dragon.
Oh yeah,
it's over the years, once Charizard started getting so much love and favoritism from Pokemon and Pokemon fans, it becomes like I don't really want to go with Charizard anymore.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a Bulbasaur guy now.
Right.
Bulbasaur's the best one. Venusaur is cool, and then Charizard, and then I don't really care for Blastoise.
I think Blastoise looks cool.
I think he's okay.
He's got cannons on his back.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's neat.
An animal that has evolved to have cannons. So Ash is really nervous about this choice he's got to make that we were just talking about. Which of the three he's going to pick?
He's dreaming about it.
He's dreaming. This I actually laughed at. I noted down because he's in his sleep. He goes, Bulbasaur, that would be good for beginners, which was pretty. I think that was kind of a clever tie into sort of the game meta.
Oh yeah,
right. Bulbasaur is often thought of as the fandom as the quote-unquote beginner choice just because he's got type advantage in the first two gyms. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. He's got type advantage against Brock and then Misty. He's resisted to Surge, resists Erica, and then neutral from Koga, and he's only weak to Sabrina and Blaine.
Yeah, so he's stacked in the early game. Mm-hmm. So that was a game reference.
Good against most gym leaders.
Right. And so he's muttering in his sleep. He says, choose it or lose it. Breaks his clock. Sleeps
and he loses
in.
It.
Yeah, he loses it.
And
breaks
in the dream sequence, he when he's throwing the balls, the Pokeballs, in his hand, they're the normal, red and white as they're supposed to be. But as they're flying through the air towards the screen, they're all red. They're completely red.
Okay.
Which is, I believe, an animation error, as they should not be all red.
Oh, my goodness.
They should
all right.
be red and white.
We're pointing out these off-canon animation errors already. Have you seen...
If I catch it, I'm bringing it up.
I got to bring this quote up. Have you seen this Simpsons episode from back in the day where Homer's joined the animation staff for Itchy and Scratchy, and he's at a panel? Have you seen this?
No, I don't think
okay,
so.
So all the comic book nerds are in the front row, and one of them is like, in Season 2, Episode 11, Itchy plays Scratchy's ribcage like a xylophone, and when he hits the same rib twice, it makes two different sounds. Are we supposed to believe this is some kind of magic xylophone? I think someone should get fired. And Homer goes, well, someone who's wearing a shirt that says Certified Genius shouldn't be spending all day watching children's cartoons, should they? And it's a big, yeah.
Touche.
That is what that kind of reminded me of.
But that's an actual error. The Pokeballs are not all red.
Come on, people.
We don't have cherished balls in this anime yet.
Yeah, come on,
it's
people.
Not a thing.
How are we supposed to believe in this world?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he wakes up late and he goes running down to the lab. And there's no more Pokemon left for him, which I think was a real big oversight on Oak's part because he knew how many students were supposed to pick up Pokemon. Why weren't there enough in the first place? Were there supposed to be were they gonna fight to the death over the 3 Pokemon or something? What was Oak doing?
Feels intentional. No.
Why?
No. Not that there isn't enough, because there is enough.
Well, I mean, technically, but he's reluctant to give Pikachu up.
He's acting reluctant. I think that Professor Oak is...
It's all conspiracy.
I think that he hams up his, foolishness. Because we see this a few times over these 3 episodes. Well, just one other time, I guess, where he's acting a bit like a fool. I think it's a play. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. I think this Pikachu setup was intentional.
Are you saying that Professor Oak sabotaged Ash's alarm clock?
I think that he knew that Ash would be late.
Oh, he's psychic.
He lives in the town. It would be as simple as observing which kids are generally tardy and which aren't. And I think that this probably wasn't the first time that Ash has had alarm clock mishaps due to Pokemon fanaticism.
So is Pikachu a punishment for that?
No, he knew that this Pikachu would be destined for great things, but he also knew that it would take a special person to actually bring that out of him. I think this is him intentionally pairing these 2 scamps together.
This is the chosen one.
Chosen one trope, yes.
So we meet Gary. He's a jerk. He's a real dick. And he's also a nepotism baby because he flat out says it's good to have a grandpa in the Pokemon business. So we got some nepotism going on.
Yeah, what the heck are with his cheerleaders? When we see Gary, he's got these 3 cheerleaders who are like, let's go, Gary, he's the best. Oh my god.
Gary's like a ladies' man.
Gary's a 10-year-old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's got these cheerleaders, are they also 10-year-olds? Are they grown
I think
women?
they're all 10. If I really hope they're not grown men.
They're grown women. Who follow a 10-year-old around and cheer.
He is 10 as of his debut, according to Bulbapedia. So I'm assuming the cheerleaders are also around that age.
Does it have anything on Gary's cheerleader squad?
Oh, there's a link for his cheerleaders. Gary's cheerleaders were a group of girls, also considered friends, that traveled with Gary during his Pokemon journey. Doesn't say anything about age, though.
Or motivation? Like, why?
They're just his friends, it seems.
What an interesting career path. You'd think that their parents would have something to say.
They probably do. We just don't see them.
True. When's the spin-off series? Gary's Cheerleaders. Drama and deceit. the gritty backstory.
The gritty teen drama.
Yeah.
Oh, where were we then?
So, picking the Pokemon.
Yeah, so Ash goes in to pick his Pokemon. His original choice is Squirtle. He decided on Squirtle. And then Bulbasaur, but both of them were taken. And then Charmander. An interesting other animation quirk here is that when the Pokeballs raise up, we see Japanese symbols on them naming the Pokeballs, but as soon as they go in for a close-up, the names are just gone.
Oh, yeah. That's
same with the Thunderbolt
probably
on,
just some animation cost-cutting.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's obviously the same clip used 3 times. So.
Right. Exactly.
So he goes Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charmander. None of them are around because, as Oak puts it, they were gotten by trainers who were there on time. And so he gives up Pikachu. And Pikachu is chonky, and Pikachu is sassy. And we love Pikachu.
Ever? Yes.
We love chonky Pikachu.
Yeah, and Ash is right away. There's some tension. Here. He thinks Pikachu should be subservient immediately. Pikachu, of course, is, he's a creature with his own agency, and there's tension about that. I wrote down that. Are you familiar with the subreddit Am I the Asshole?
Mm-hmm.
I think Ash should use Am I the Asshole on Reddit, and I will bring this up a few times about different situations he's in, because he's so naive, and he tackles these sort of situations of conflict by just brute force.
He's an idiot.
He's an idiot, and he assumes that the other person is the one bringing the assholism. I think Ash should get on there, and the people can vote,
Mm-hmm. Does Pokedex have internet connection? Can he log into Reddit?
Do the Pokedexes have Reddit? The Reddit app.
So he's off on his journey. His mom is giving him all the supplies, underwear, clean underwear, lots of clean underwear.
She is so obsessed. Chocolate. Okay, I like Ash's mom. At some point, we have joked about doing a Pokemon mom tier list. As a man in his 30s, the Pokemon moms. You're like, if I was ever to be launched into this world, you have to pick which women you are pursuing for romantic purposes.
This is gross.
And you're single. It's the moms, bro. It's the moms. The moms are so hot now.
Let's make it clear, Graham is also married.
I am married, but the Pokemon... If I wasn't, the Pokemon moms... If I wasn't, and I was in the cartoon, the Pokemon moms are where it's at. But so why is she obsessed with his underwear? She's like, clean underwear, clean underwear, clean underwear. The kid doesn't change his clothes, ever.
Well, he changes his underwear.
He changes his underwear, but not the rest of his clothes.
Yeah, the rest of them are fine.
Oh.
The underwear has to change, though.
Yeah,
it's very important.
Where does he keep the underwear? He doesn't have any...
In his bag.
Oh. It's just a backpack full of underwear. It's the only thing he's carrying around.
And hot chocolate.
Well, those are the necessities.
Mm-hmm. And rubber gloves that she gives him. And
why do I need rubber gloves?
And then Pikachu shocks him. And then Oak says, he gives us a type matchup here. He says that the rubber is resistant to electric. So we know now rubber type
not just a
immune
type
to the electric
matchup, rubber type, but like a very simple science lesson. Gather around, kids.
It's type matchup.
Oh,
it's the rubber type. We haven't seen any actual Pokemon yet with the rubber type, but maybe in Gen 10.
So Ash sets off now with this reluctant Pikachu, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's he going next?
Oh, well, he's off to Viridian City, but he's going through the wilderness. He finds a Pidgey, and Pikachu won't battle it.
He also
refuses.
he says, I have a goal to get all the Pokemon in the world.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Wow, what a
Quote,
lofty goal.
I've pledged to get all the Pokemon in the world, and I did the counting on Bulbapedia. He caught 98 of 898 Pokemon in his career.
Well, this sort of language struck me
Or
as...
103 if you count the ones he caught in an episode and released, which Bulbapedia doesn't count them as official captures, but if you count them, it's 103.
He is like the entrepreneur who starts a new company, and instead of saying, I'm going to try to get a few customers, he's like, I'm going to be the next Facebook. I'm going to be this massive, crazy corporation. I'm going to be the next Amazon. And you don't even have a customer yet.
Yeah.
That's the kind of language here. I'm going to get all the Pokemon in the world. You don't even know how to catch a Pokemon.
And then we get the sassy Pokedex telling him, oh, most of the time trainers will battle a Pokemon before they catch it, or Rattata steals food from stupid travelers.
Use your fucking head, Ash.
Rattata, the rat Pokemon, can be caught if you're not a bumbling fucking idiot.
Exactly. So he's trying to catch the Pidgey, and I gotta tell you something here. So this is my first anime trope lesson. Are you familiar with the term Sakuga?
It sounds familiar. I don't think I know
Sakuga. So
what it is at all.
Sakuga, I looked it up. I do not know the exact origins of this term, but anime fans use it to refer to those few seconds in like an anime episode where suddenly the animation quality is really upped. It's like it's how they spend, like, most of the episode is like stills, reused images, and then there's like a few seconds where they actually draw like a shit ton of frames. That's the Sakuga. That's like when the money hits, That's like when
the money shot.
The money shot, the Sakuga. Yeah.
I don't recall what that animation was. I'm trying to go back to it and take a look.
Oh, when he's trying to catch the Pidgey, there's definitely a lot of action going on there. I think when he jumps and he tries to use a shirt to catch it, right?
Oh, yeah.
God, he's a moron.
With the backpack.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. The gust is looking pretty good.
Oh, yeah, the gust is looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And all this
so he tries to jump on it with his backpack.
Right, and all this commotion just stirs up a whole bunch of Spearows. Angry-ass crow herd Spearows looking for a fight. And what's going on here? Like, Pikachu gets kind of roughed up, no?
Yeah, so he throws a rock at a Spearow for some reason, because he's an idiot. It pisses the Spearow off, and the Spearow tries to attack Ash and Pikachu. And we see a section of it through the Spearow's black and white eyes, which I didn't remember, and I thought was actually a pretty neat moment. But Pikachu, I believe, hits the Pidgey with a Thunder Shock, and then it calls in an entire flock of Pidgey, which start chasing them down.
Yeah, and he shows a lot of bravery, Ash, here. He finally steps up, realizes that, what Pikachu's going through something too. This isn't just all about me. And he has a somewhat selfless act, grabs the Pikachu, jumps in the water.
Yeah, jumps off of a cliff
brave.
as if birds can't fly down a cliff.
He's a dumbass.
He's a dumbass.
He tries his best.
So, and through this whole section, we see a few different Pokemon. We see some Sandshrew, we see some Mankey, then in the water we see a Magikarp, and then a Gyarados almost straight up eats Ash.
Oh, really?
Which would have been the end of the anime if he didn't
end
get out
it
the way.
right there.
Yeah, that would have been a very short podcast.
And then maybe we can follow the Gyarados.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the show's just following the Gyarados while it eats people.
And then we meet Misty. She reels in Ash and is completely unperturbed that she just reeled in a human child on her fishing rod.
Anime lesson number 2. Are you familiar with the term tsundere?
I've heard the term, I couldn't define it.
Okay, this is a trope in anime, and anime tropes to me are kind of wild because, in Western media there's tropes, but to me they're very broad, like a sort of hero villain kind of stuff. Anime tropes can get so specific. A tsundere usually refers to a female character who is very cold and kind of angry to the main character, but then has times that they warm up. That is a tsundere.
How wholesome.
So Misty is a tsundere. She wants to beat the crap out of him. She's always screaming at him, but she's on his side ultimately.
Mm-hmm. So he gets on her bike. He straight up steals Misty's bike.
He steals her bike. Reddit, am I the asshole? #2 for Ash.
Pledges that he'll give it back someday. I don't believe he ever does.
Well, we'll see in the next episode. That bike gets fucked up.
Oh yeah, it's completely fucked. So he needs to buy her a new bike, but I don't know if he ever does that, unless he's gonna do it in the final episodes.
Yeah.
So then we see the horde of Spearow coming back. Ash has nearly killed his Pokemon in just one day, which is a remarkable feat for a Pokemon trainer. Mm-hmm. And he tells the Spearow flock, "I'm going to capture and defeat you all," and proceeds to catch 0 Spearow in the entire series.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he catches no Spearow. Pikachu finds love in his heart, though. He's realized that, this guy really does care about me. So I'm going to murder this entire flock of Spearow so hard that the weather just straight up changes.
Yeah, so 2 tropes that are kind of going on here, common anime tropes, specific to shonen anime. So I don't know if you're familiar with this term, but shonen is the kind of anime that's usually targeted at young boys. So this is your Dragon Balls, your Narutos. I would say Pokemon falls into there. There's a big cliche in kind of all of that shonen nonsense where the main character is trying to be the best. There isn't really a good reason. They just gotta be the best. That's kind of the main pursuit. The other trope I wanted to point out was sort of the lovable character who isn't struggling to show their powers, but in times of big stress and when lives are on the line, suddenly has insane powers. And that was kind of Pikachu here. Earlier in the episode, he's like, okay, what can he do? Blah, blah, blah. And then he just he can take out a whole squad. It costs a lot. It's a life or death thing.
Well, I don't think Pikachu just suddenly had all this power. He always had it. He just never.
But it comes out. It only comes out in those key situations.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then we see Ho-Oh for the first time.
Yeah. So when did this show come out? This was I believe 97.
I looked it up. Yeah, the show premiered in 97, April 1st, 97. And then I looked up Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh was revealed in the August 1996 issue of Koro.
Oh, wow.
So this wasn't the first time we saw Ho-Oh, but I believe it was the first time we saw it in, official media.
And before a game.
And it was before a game, because Gold and Silver came out in 99.
Right. So had they even started a marketing cycle for Gold and Silver?
I don't even know, because it was less than 6 months after Red and Green came out.
Yeah,
that Ho-Oh was revealed in Koro.
Oh, okay.
No, not even. It was less than 6 months after the release of Red and Green.
The Japanese one, yeah. Yeah, so that's interesting. So we see the Ho-Oh. We've got this allure about legendaries. We don't really know what a legendary is yet, but
we'll talk a little bit about them in the next episode.
Which is that's kind of a secondary plot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Poker Rap takes us out. Again, I think we should save kind of the songs for their own special episode. But I did just want to point out, I noticed this time how the Poker Rapper says something about you got to tune in Monday to Friday to catch it all. This was them leaning heavy into this is a marketable thing. They're like, oh, we can actually use this sort of anime with its catch 'em all, with this kind of long-term storytelling ability to get kids to sit in front of that TV every single day. This isn't, a sitcom you catch sometimes. This is, hey, we want them glued every single day. You're going to eat up as many ads as we can.
Yeah, and I didn't even know this until I was looking at the episode list on Bulbapedia. If you couldn't tell, that's my Pokemon resource. But I didn't know that the U.S. broadcast was a daily thing.
Oh, okay. I seem to remember it being daily. I seem to remember it being daily. In Canada, this would be on YTV, for those who remember.
Mm-hmm.
I guess probably Cartoon Network in the States, or Nickelodeon. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it was a Monday to Friday thing. Japan was weekly, but here it was Monday to Friday.
Right.
from what it seems, which I didn't.
Well,
I didn't know that, so
they would
neat.
then loop episodes a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because you go through the season quickly.
Yeah, and there were some breaks and stuff, but overall.
Okay, so we have a bit of a game we're going to do to rank this episode. We have compiled a bunch of different random categories about various things, and so we don't know what we're ranking this episode based on yet. Kellen, you're going to pull out a random number, and that's going to tell us what criteria to rank on.
Not even a number. So what I did is I got a bunch of ping pong balls, and I wrote all the categories on each ping pong ball.
Oh, they're on there. Okay, nice.
And I put them into a pitcher. I bought a plastic pitcher from Walmart for $5.
All right.
And I put them in a pitcher, and I've realized I need a bigger pitcher.
Yeah, you do.
I underestimated the size that ping pong balls would take up.
Well, do your best. Swill them around, shuffle them around. Give that pitcher a go. What are we ranking it on today?
What are we ranking the first episode?
The first episode.
Our first category today, we will be ranking. Okay, we can't do this because she wasn't in the episode, so I'm going to save that one for later.
Okay.
And we will pull a different one. I should have pulled out some of these beforehand. Our first category is Anime Mom Energy.
Oh boy, back to the anime moms. Aren't you happy? Well, this is a 10 out of 10. This was a great episode for the Pokemon mom, right? It's an intro to it. It's probably a more screen time than the mom usually gets. Mm-hmm. We get her underwear quips, obsession with underwear, very weird. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 moms.
I'll agree with you.
10 moms out of 10
energy.
moms. Yeah.
So are we doing another one?
I think let's keep it to one an episode.
One per episode? Sure.
Yeah.
That works. Maybe we'll change it in the future as we see how things...
Yeah, we'd like to encourage listeners, if there are any, to send us in some ideas for categories. We'll include them in the raffle.
The raffle?
I've also noticed we're already at close to 40 minutes. Should we do 2 episodes?
I was thinking maybe.
Yeah.
But,
well, let's see how we get in this next one. We can make a call.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to kick us off? Episode 2.
Pokemon Emergency. So we
boy.
open up. We meet Officer Jenny for the first time.
Yep.
We're going to meet a lot of our side characters. A lot of our recurring side characters.
Yeah, I wrote that down. Lots of new characters revealed in this episode.
Mm-hmm. So we meet Officer Jenny. She is announcing to Viridian City that there are Pokemon thieves in the area. And we see on the wanted poster, it's Jesse and James. And the wanted poster actually makes Jesse and James look quite threatening.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which is not what
caught
we'll
my
see
eye
most of the
immediately, that poster. So we've kind of got 3 pretty prominent side characters introduced, like, instantly.
Mm-hmm. And so there are Pokemon thieves in the area. Officer Jenny thinks Ash is the thief, even though he's a 10-year-old child.
He's just a moron.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is no thief, just an idiot. That's really another shonen anime trope, is the main character trying to be the best, but also being an idiot. They have this attitude that, you don't need to think things through too much. It's having a greatness of spirit. It's having a lot of drive. That's what's going to take you to the next level.
Yeah.
It's an interesting message to push, because I don't think that's true in real life. Arguable, maybe.
No, if you're an idiot in real life, you're just an idiot.
Right.
So she's going to take Pikachu, who is badly hurt, and Ash to the Pokemon Center, and then we meet Team Rocket for the first time. And they have a talking Meowth. What?
Right.
What?
He's a weirdo.
That must have been a weird thing to see the first time watching.
It was jarring even in this episode a little bit. I thought that it was like, wow, that Meowth is weird. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's got this kind of like, I don't know, 20s New York gangster thing about him. And he's constantly making puns. And I think it's to play off of, the gang of thieves kind of thing. But Jesse and James's style is this like romantic Zorro kind of villain. And they've got this like weird little New York gangster following them around. Where Pokemon can't normally talk, but it's like, it's jarring, but it's fun. It is fun.
So Jenny and Ash straight up Tokyo drift into the Pokemon Center.
Yeah,
and we
do.
meet Nurse Joy,
Right.
who opens with a really good line, which is a really deadpan, "We have a driveway, you know." Which I found that funny.
Yeah. Next time, leave it on the driveway.
And then we also meet Chansey for the first time.
Yeah, I liked seeing the Pokemon as sort of like staff at this Poke Center. There's more of them that pop up. The Chansey is kind of the first one as being Joy's like assistant, I guess. Okay, it's interesting that she's called a nurse. So they don't have a concept of vets here. Do they have a concept of doctors? Like a nurse is the main veterinarian in this society? Is that
Yeah,
what
there are doctors. There are human doctors. There's an episode, and I only know
Human
this 'cause
doctors,
I recently
yeah.
watched the first season. There's a doctor later in the season that is a human doctor.
Okay, but Nurse Joy is specifically a Pokemon nurse, right?
Yeah,
But they
She
don't
works at
call
the
her a
Pokemon
vet.
Center.
They don't call her a vet.
no,
They don't call her a Pokemon nurse. She's just a
No.
nurse.
yeah.
You know, so I had brought up once off speaker, off microphone, sorry. I was going to say off camera. We're not on camera. Off microphone to you about, the ongoing debate, which will come up, which is the Jenny versus Joy. I think for this episode, I got to give it to Joy.
It's
Jenny
always
doesn't
Joy.
do a lot, right? And I was, in my head, I was like, oh no, Jenny's probably the cooler one. She's riding a motorcycle, kicking ass. Like, what does Joy do? Joy does a lot in this episode. Jenny does not do that much. Jenny's just kind of causing issues.
Jenny causes tire tracks in the Pokemon Center.
Typical cop, am I right?
Oh, topical.
Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. Keep going.
So now we're in the waiting room. Ash is waiting for Pikachu to get treated and whatnot. And we see the cuckoo clock on the wall has a Pidgey inside. The Pidgey is green.
Oh,
Why is the Pidgey green?
colors, folks. When
not
is
right.
the animation staff gonna learn them?
And that's not even a shiny Pidgey.
Oh,
That's not even shiny Pidgey colors.
what is a shiny again? This is a big Pokemon thing, right?
A different colored Pokemon, and they're
And
rare.
they're more rare. And
Yeah.
do they have like extra abilities? Or is
No,
it just
they're
shiny?
just different colors.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wha-
but they're
why
really
is-
rare.
Why is
typically.
that interesting?
Because they're rare.
Okay.
They've gotten a lot more common over the last couple gens, but like in gens 2 through 5, you had a 1 in 8,192 chance every time you encountered a Pokemon to
But why do you
for it to
want
be
one?
shiny. Because they're rare.
I don't get this at all.
They're just different. They're neat.
Okay.
It's cool. You can have a black Charizard.
I just think they're
Cool.
neat.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that Marge Simpson meme.
You can get a black Charizard. You can get a trying to think of another iconic one. Green Mewtwo. Like, it's just cool.
Wow. Very cool.
It is.
No, that's not interesting at all. Shinies are lame. You heard it here first, folks.
Fuck you. I'm done with this podcast. We're over.
No, you're
I'm
not. So we see this Pidgey. Okay, great. The next part I've got written down is we get our first glimpse of a PC.
Yeah.
Right? This is sort of a thing in the games. The PC is how you access Pokemon that aren't in your party. It's kind of weird concept. Like, Pokemon can be completely digitized. I don't know.
We'll see it later in the season when he catches a Kingler or a Krabby. In the show universe, they get sent to Professor Oak.
Ah,
They
okay.
get digitally teleported to Professor Oak. That's where they live for the time being.
Okay, that's interesting.
But we also see the engraving on the wall, the art on the wall, where we see the legendaries. We see Moltres and Articuno and Zapdos and fucking Arcanine.
And he thinks it's a ho-ho. He thinks the Articuno's a ho-ho.
But we also see Arcanine.
What was with that?
Why?
Yeah, is Arcanine a
He's classified,
legendary?
just like how Pikachu is classified as the mouse Pokemon, Arcanine is classified as the legendary Pokemon, but it isn't a legendary Pokemon.
Interesting. That's weird. So that was just one of those things hadn't quite worked out what they wanted to do with that. But we see those, yeah. And so this all happened during phone calls, though. Ash calls his mom.
Yep.
Okay. There's a sequence of events here. She drops a couple things. One, she drops that Ash had a father who was a great Pokemon champion or something. We're not really sure. He's missing. That's a huge shonen trope. There are no dads in shonen, you know?
And I don't believe we ever...
Everyone's dad is missing.
I don't think we ever hear about his dad again.
We never find out. It's just
so.
this, like, random... That's
Again,
so weird. Like,
some
that,
of these,
that'd be a plot.
some of these questions might get answered in the last, like, whatever it is, 10 episodes or something.
Oh, they might finally wrap it up.
But
yeah.
Who knows? As of this point, we have no idea still.
So for those people that could be listening to this podcast at any time, this is early in 2023. It's been announced that they are finally retiring Ash from the TV show, but we haven't seen these final episodes yet, so who knows? There could be some resolution to some of these loose Ash threads.
Though over 1,000 episodes of continuity, I don't really expect much.
Who knows? So he talks to his mom, obsessed with changing underwear, immediately gets a call from Professor Oak. And this is where we learn about these legendaries, sort of. But, okay. Oak is immediately, and I know this is a bit of a meme in the community, Oak is immediately like, I talked to your mom, Ash. Like he just talked to his mom. And then Oak just says that. Like
Is
what?
this also the other part where Oak is kind of acting a fool?
He's acting a fool.
Yeah, I wrote down the entire interaction because I found it funny. Because I was like,
Okay.
I couldn't be talking to you if I wasn't here. No. Oh, I dialed the Pokemon Center in Viridian City, and you were able to answer. Yeah, because that's where I am. I suppose that proves it.
Yeah, so dumb. He's got the wrong camera on. Man, is Oak like, what is his grand master play here? Like, he's almost like a bit of a Yoda. He's acting a fool, but he's got plans going on. One of them is to get with the mom, probably. That's what it seems like. But it's got to be bigger than that. Lining up the Pikachu. I don't know. I'm on to you, Oak. Something smells. Also, he hangs up the call by saying his pizza has arrived. His anchovy, spinach, and pineapple pizza. What's with that? I like all three of those things on pizzas, but maybe not together. Together sounds weird.
No. None of those belong on pizza. Spinach is fine. Pineapple does not belong on pizza, and I will die on that hill.
Oh, you don't like anchovies?
No.
On like a seafood pizza? Oh,
No.
so good.
No.
They're just salty. They just taste like salt.
I don't eat fish on my pizza.
Oh, you should.
Anyway.
Try it.
So, but on the phone call, Ash is talking about how he saw one of those legendary Pokemon, and Oak says, no, you couldn't have seen it. Oak is straight up gaslighting Ash.
Oh,
Cancel Professor Oak. Hashtag cancel Oak.
There's a lot going with Oak.
What is happening?
So what do you mean by gaslighting here? Like,
Well,
does
he's
he know
telling-
more than Ash does? That he's not letting
because
on?
he's just saying, Ash, what you saw isn't real.
Well, he's
what you know you
dismissing
saw.
a child. Is
Yeah.
what he's doing, yeah.
Yeah, it's gaslighting.
Okay, so what happens next in the episode?
So Pikachu needs surgery, but we hear Team Rocket is in the area, and we meet for the first time Jesse and James's Ekans and Coughing.
Oh.
Here's a quick question for you. Do you know what the beta names of Coughing and Wheezing were originally?
So at what point into, like, this would be before the game's launched, or
Yes.
or in localization, or what?
I'm not entirely sure, but it is I'll look it up real quick.
An earlier name.
Yeah. So
No,
it is a beta name.
I have no idea. I mean, Coughing and Ekans, Snake Backwards. Those are some of the names that stuck with you.
Sorry,
as
did
a
I say
kid.
Coughing and Ekans? I mean Coughing and Wheezing.
Oh, okay. So we're not talking
So-
about Ekans. Coughing and Wheezing.
Coughing
Okay, what were
and
they?
Wheezing. Originally, in the Pokemon Red and Blue beta, so I guess it would have been the localization, Coughing and Wheezing were referred to as NY and LA.
New York and Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Because of pollution.
Because a pollution joke, people.
Anyway, that's just a fun fact.
Coughing and Wheezing are better names, I think. New York and LA, that's kind of funny for like half a second.
If there was a third one, what would you name it? If Wheezing evolved even further.
Puking. No. Coughing, wheezing, and shitting your pants. I choose you, shitting your pants.
I'd probably go with like hacking.
hacking.
Yeah.
Gene Hackman. Is there anyone notorious for coughing or smoking a lot? I don't know.
I don't think we should be, like, glorifying that. So probably not.
That's true. Coughing, wheezing, dying.
There you go.
The best thing I've said in this in my whole life is I choose you shitting your pants. So I'm gonna go with that.
Now, coughing, wheezing, and dying is perpetually poisoned.
Just not a useful Pokemon at all.
No.
Tournament banned. Right.
Anyway, so we meet Ekans and Coughing, and then we see the backup power system that the Pokemon Center has.
Oh, I laughed at that. So cute.
A bunch of Pikachu on a treadmill.
Yeah, and they're like kind of bouncing up and down and making these weird noises. Like they sound like cats, like trying to get at catnip. It is cute as heck.
It's very cute. And then we see the way that they transfer Pokemon between Pokemon centers. The Pokemon world has perfected teleportation, guys. They did
at least 4 Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is there any other kind of teleportation ever?
Not that I know of.
Like no human teleportation, right?
There is Sabrina, which we'll get to eventually.
Ah.
But she does some
spoilers for the future. Sabrina.
So, now we get into the actual Team Rocket altercation, and they're actually being shown to be kind of intimidating. Mm-hmm. And Jessie lands a pretty burner line against Misty. She says, "I think she's pretty too. Pretty pathetic." Fucking roasted. Absolutely roasted.
What exactly are Team Rocket's motives? They talk about trying to steal rare Pokemon, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's actually interesting, I think, because that's world building. We've thought a little bit already about Pokemon training as a career, but there's some sort of collecting, there's some sort of intrinsic value to rare Pokemon too. Mm-hmm. And now, to me, when I hear a line like that, I start thinking, like, there's Pokemon with all kinds of different properties, probably. So they're going for rarity for wealth. The wealth is attached to this Pokemon, partly because of rarity, but probably partly because of value. Different Pokemon maybe would have different, like, healing agents that are used in different things, or different economic sort of purposes they fit, like these Pikachu backup generators. World building.
All you gotta do to power your house is catch a few Pikachu and just throw them on a treadmill. It's clean energy.
Tesla.
There you go.
We got an idea. Powering the grid, one Pikachu at a time. What a sad existence, though. Like, they just, wait around and then power the backup generator.
Yeah, they're cute, though. So
they are cute, so it's a pass. Mm-hmm. So Misty tries to defend the poor innocent Pokemon by throwing out a Goldeen, which is incredibly useless. In Smash Brothers, a Goldeen can be random. The fighting video game Super Smash Brothers, a Goldeen can be randomly summoned from a Pokeball, and it is a useless Pokemon. It doesn't do anything. You've wasted that. It's the null choice, so to speak.
I was gonna note.
Yeah.
Is that the reference? I never really caught that, but that might be where it comes from. Because, like, I've always thought to myself, why isn't it a Magikarp? That would make more sense.
I always thought that too. Why isn't it a Magikarp?
But that's probably because of this scene.
But this episode came out before Smash Brothers. Probably 2 years before Smash Brothers, I think.
I don't know.
I believe the N64 Smash Brothers is 99.
I believe I was not conscious at that point. So...
Yeah, I'm a good 10 years older from Kellen, I believe, for reference.
And so Pikachu wakes up.
Yeah.
And all the other Pikachu come out in another adorable Pikachu scene where they're all just jumping over the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Very cute. They all electrocute Team Rocket, which will probably be killing them. An interesting fact about this episode that I learned, researching it a little bit. The original scene, you know that 4-panel section where they were all getting electrocuted?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So apparently the original version of that was more like flashy and stuff, but after the Porygon incident, they revised that scene in the episode for future releases.
You want to fill our listeners in what the Porygon incident was?
Well, eventually we'll get to that episode, because we're going to do the banned episodes, right?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So in Electric Soldier Porygon, there is a section where Pikachu uses Thunderbolt on some vaccine missiles. and it causes red and blue flashing lights to cover the screen for multiple seconds, which caused seizures in the initial airing of this episode. And because of it, it never got localized, never aired in North America, and it has been banned from all kinds of future releases. And Porygon and Porygon's evolutions, I believe, have never been seen in the anime since, even though it wasn't Porygon's fault.
So the Porygon incident happened in the original Japanese airing, and so even this section of this episode, where we've got it was very cool, kind of stylish actually. It's the screen split into quarters, and we see different characters' faces getting electrocuted. It ends on the coughing, so that was a lot flashier, and they went for more of a stills approach because of this incident,
which I think is just better. I think it's funnier.
I think it's funnier. It's a style choice. Mm-hmm. It ends on the coughing. The lightning
blows up the Pokemon Center.
They blow up the fucking Pokemon Center, which they are trying to save. They destroy it. There's like the biggest. There's like a nuclear mushroom cloud blast.
Mm-hmm. But no one dies. No one dies.
That is so weird. They destroyed it. Afterwards, we see Jenny and Joy like sitting in like rubble.
It's pretty good. But we also get no blasting off again from Team Rocket.
Right, which will come up.
We don't see that yet.
A lot. Yes.
That's pretty much the episode. We learned that Misty is scared of bugs. We find a Caterpie, and Ash goes to throw the ball, and then we end on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, the only other thing we learned sort of at the end is when Jenny and Joy are sitting in the rubble, Joy calls up one of her sisters, she says, who looks exactly like her. I think there's something weird going on with Nurse Joy as well. Are these clones?
No,
Stay
they're
tuned.
just related.
No, I do not buy it. There's
Your
too many
theory is
of them.
clones.
They look too similar. I think there's a grand cloning conspiracy. It will tie into some of the Mewtwo lore later. You heard it here first, folks. Nurse Joy, clones. That would be the kind of like trash newspaper stuff, tabloid stuff that would happen in this universe.
You see on the
Nurse
National
Joy,
Enquirer.
exactly, the National Enquirer. Nurse
Miss-
Joy, is she a
Nurse Joy
clone? Clone or sisters? We've got the scoop.
And that's episode 2.
Yeah. So let's do the scoring.
All right, let's pull out another ping pong ball. And this episode, we will be rating it on how the Pokemon would taste, the featured Pokemon, if we cooked it. So there wasn't really a featured Pokemon, though.
So, yeah, let's talk about that. So the category is if you were to cook up kind of a feature Pokemon from the episode, how would it taste? This was an ensemble episode. Caterpie I would leave for the next episode, so it really comes down to the Pikachus. I think it's probably Coughing and Ekans are the features.
I don't think you want to eat a Coughing.
The Coughing I'm going to give a 0. A 0 out of 10. That looks like one of the least appetizing Pokemon to eat. You would get poisoned. Maybe there's some kind of weird cooking technique that actually saves some meat from the coughing.
It's sort of like the blowfish.
Like the blowfish is fugu in Japanese
Fugu.
sushi. Yeah.
I only know that because of The Simpsons.
Yeah,
3 Simpsons
too.
references today.
Yeah.
This is a Simpsons podcast.
Let's count the Simpsons references. It's unavoidable. It just covers too much of pop media.
I don't know if anybody or who of anybody eats snake, but I mean, I wouldn't want to eat Ekans.
There is snake eaten in some Chinese cuisines, I believe. There? Like a larger snake, and they kind of chop. I've heard it tastes like fish. I actually haven't had snake. I would try it in a proper snake dish.
Not. I don't think so.
Wow, you're not brave with food at all. You want to eat
snakes.
anchovies.
I hate snakes.
Ah, you got a snake thing.
They freak the shit out of me.
Interesting. So you would not eat snake. I would try snake.
I would not.
So I'll give the Ekans, but I still don't think the Ekans looks particularly tasty.
It's like
I give it a 3. Yeah.
And then, I mean, we can also talk Meowth. I don't want to eat Meowth, though. I like cats too much.
I'm having troubles even seeing Meowth as a Pokemon. I just think of him as like Danny DeVito.
That is 2 episodes in a row we have mentioned Danny DeVito.
Well, you can't avoid it in my brain, apparently.
And that's episode 2.
So of these 2 episodes, number 1 won, according to our random ranking. Our stochastic ranking system.
Our objective ranking system.
Objective, randomly sampled ranking system. The first episode got 10 out of 10. Anime moms rule all. At least Pokemon moms. Pokemon moms are on top. The episode 2, we're in the weak territories. Let's go average between 0 and 3.
1.5 out of 10, baby.
1.5. Yeah, that's weak. Weak sauce episode.
Rough episode then.
So executive decision. I think we should end here.
Yeah,
and
we
next
can land on
week
the
do
cliffhanger.
episodes 3 and 4.
That sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
I think we can do we'll do episodes 3 and 4 next week, and then we can do 5 and 6, 7 and 8, and we'll kind of go from there. Because I want to do 10, 11, and 12 in one episode for sure.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. At some point, we might string together more episodes if they're sort of like an arc, a mini arc.
Yeah.
Okay,
so that's it.
Kellen,
For
Skittle
today.
Wickers, you want to let the listeners, you want to let the listeners know where they can find you.
What listeners?
We will get them eventually.
Will we? I don't know.
Where can they
We'll
find
see.
you?
We'll see. Well, I mean, you're on my YouTube channel already, probably. And then in the link is a Twitch link, or in the description is a Twitch link. So, click those.
Yeah, and we will be getting this on to podcast platforms soon. We should have.
Yeah, that is your job this week.
That's my job. I'll aim to have an update on that by next episode.
You better.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of episodes, I guess. Last episode, I want to go over just a couple things from last episode.
Okay.
That I noticed in my 5 re-listens.
Wow.
Because of having to go through editing
love our
and
voices.
highlights. I'm so sick of my own voice. When I noted the Creation Trio statues in the background of one of the scenes, I was a fucking idiot. It's Arceus, not Giratina, behind Howard Clifford, which makes so much more sense.
How can we forgive you?
Symbolically, because Howard Clifford was literally trying to play God.
Right.
Which makes so much more sense. And then, I don't know if this is an intentional reference or not, but in the final fight scene between Pikachu and Mewtwo, when Pikachu is bouncing around on the balloons, Graham, that's like Poke Floats from Melee.
Yeah, true. Super Smash Brothers Melee, Poke Floats.
I don't know if it was intentional, but it's funny.
2 Smash Brothers ideas floated out there in this week.
Oh, look at that. So much crossover.
Well, I mean, Smash Brothers uses Pokemon, so
Yeah.
it's pretty blatant.
So what about you? Do you have any social media you want to shout out? I don't think you do.
No, I don't. This will be the main one. For now, I'll definitely bring up when we get more kind of channels out there. But yeah, please let us know. Comments are definitely welcome. You'll find shorts affiliated with our podcast as well. It
And
sounds
TikToks.
like TikTok.
Unfortunately.
What's the TikTok to look at?
It's on my TikTok. It's Skittlewickers. Subject
Skittlewickers.
to change.
Okay,
Still figuring
Skittlewickers.
that out.
Change pending.
Change pending.
All right. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. We've had fun making it.
If
and
you got
see
this
next
far,
week.
bless your heart.
Yeah, bless your heart indeed.
All right.
You're a champion.